There we are, guys. Now, so apparently we're live here. Fantastic. So we're starting our video class, our class about phrasal verbs. Let me see. Who do we have here? So today we're going to be talking about business phrasal verbs in particular. And why are phrasal verbs so important? Phrasal verbs in general are important, but in particular, business phrasal verbs, especially for our groups, always be closing business group, because everybody involved in this group are business people. They're all entrepreneurs or empreendedores, as we say in Brazil. And phrasal verbs, learning these phrasal verbs will be really important for you in any business conversation or in any business presentation, in any business meeting, anything like that. Really, really important. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look today at a different number, like a number maybe 10 or 12, maybe 8 or 10. We'll see how many phrasal verbs we can cover, and we'll discuss them as much as we can. And I'm looking forward to getting your comments about them, any doubts, any questions you have in relation to any specific phrasal verb. Okay. Now, I think let's start with this one here. To figure out. You see here on the screen, to figure out. So the infinitive form is to figure out. So but we always use it in practice. Figure out. You know, I need to figure out the infinitive form. Okay. To figure out, como está escrito aquí, significa analizar o entender. Figure out, like I need to understand something. I want to understand something, so I need to figure it out. It means I need to analyze it. I need to think about it. I need to put everything on the table, for example, and figure it out. Chegar a un entendimento sobre alguma coisa. So I need to figure it out. Figure it out. I need to understand it. I need to analyze something so that I can then understand it. I need to analyze it and then hopefully si torce understand it. So the objective is to understand it, so I need to figure it out. Let's look at another one here, the next one, to ask around. To ask around means to ask a big number of people, or to ask all your colleagues, for example, in a team. So I will ask around. Imagine somebody says, listen, how can I solve this problem? What is the best thing to do to solve this problem? Let me move my microphone a little bit. What is the best thing to do to solve this problem? And somebody, Pedro says, I don't know. Paulo says, I don't know. So then I say, well, wait a second. I will ask around. It means I will ask Maria, I will ask Marcelo. I'll ask other members of the team if they have a solution, if they know how to solve this problem. Because I don't know, you don't know, Pedro doesn't know, Paula doesn't know. So we're going to ask around, ask other people in the company or in the room or in the team, in the group, ask other people how to solve a specific situation, for example. So to ask around, very useful. What is another one here? This one here, I'm sure you know this one well, to call back. Like, to retornar uma ligação, ligar de volta para, retornar uma ligação, I think in Portuguese. You call somebody, you want to talk to somebody, the supervisor, for example. The supervisor isn't there. So what do? You say, well, I'll call back. I'll call back. I will ring again. Or it could be inverted. It could be the person you are looking for, in this case, the supervisor. So the supervisor will call you back. And there you put the object in the middle of the phrasal verb. Call you back, call me back. You see, so depending on how you use it, if there's an object, you put the object in the middle. Call you back, call me back. Or in the first example, I will call back. Eu ligarei de volta, or I will repetir a ligação, return the call, like that. Let me see. Feel free, guys. Do feel free to put any comments. Who do we have here? Raquel McElligott, how nice. Lovely to see you there. Do feel free to ask any questions here, Raquel. We're looking at business phrasal verbs, any phrasal verbs that are used specifically in a business context. So feel totally free to ask any questions about them. Let's have a look at another one here. For example, to cut back on. Cut back on means like to reduce the amount you use of something. For example, imagine we use a lot of paper, a lot of printing paper. I use paper when I'm printing paper for my classes, for example, to print things for my students or to print things for myself. But imagine at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I see that I'm using too much paper. I could say, well, I must cut back on the paper. Cut back on means use less, usar menos. So I need to reduce my use of paper. I'm using too much paper, so I must cut back on the paper. Cut back on, reduce the amount of something, in this case paper, reduce the amount of paper I use. To cut back on. And there we are. Now, so let me see. Let's do another one here. Here, I'm sure you've all heard this one, probably quite a few times. Like when you travel, for example, when you travel to another country and you are in immigration, what do they often ask you to do? They often ask you to fill in a form or to fill out a form. You can say it both ways, fill in or fill out. Preencher un formulario. So you fill out the form. Fill out, just put all your details, the name, address, your destination, any relevant information while you are filling out the form. So to fill out means preencher un documento, preencher un formulario. To fill out. Okay, guys? Let's have a look at the next one here. Backup. Like backup, for example, é por isso que tem esse backup de computador. Like, you know, always make sure, sempre garante, tenha sempre backup for your computer or for your phone, you know, your telephone numbers. Make sure you always have a backup. Por que o backup? Porque o backup é como se fosse o plano B, plan B, a support. So you have your phone numbers, your real phone numbers, but just in case there's a problem with your phone, have a backup. Backup is like support. So that is the important word to understand. When you're talking about a backup, what you're really talking about is a support for B. So you have plano A, plano B, plano C. Plano B, plano C è un apoyo. It's a support for plan A. So backup. But so that's how we use it. Like a phrasal verb is to back up something or to back me up, back up the project, or back the supervisor up, you know, back the supervisor up. So let's say, for example, the supervisor, he's proposing a change of plan. He's proposing a project, suggesting a course of action, and he needs some support. So he might say, for example, come on, guys, back me up. Like me apoyen, me dé un poquito de apoyo. Back me up. So there you see, you put the me, the object, in the middle of the phrasal verb. So back up somebody. I will back up Pedro. But the most natural way to say it is, I will back Pedro up. And you put Pedro in between, in the middle, the name Pedro's name, in the middle of the phrasal verb. So we will back Pedro up. Let me see how we're doing there. There's Raquel, wonderful. So back up. To back up is apoiar alguém ou alguma coisa. To back up something. To give support to. Pode ser apoio moral na reunião. Você tem uma ideia, you have an idea, and you need somebody to give you some support, to back up your idea. Support your idea, you know, give you some extra strength, some support. Back up, very useful one, guys. Back up. What is the next one here? To call off. To call off as you can see here, to call off significa cancelar o desmarcar. Cancelar o desmarcar. Let me see here. Who do we have participating? We have one person at the moment. And there we are. Let me see here. So to call off. To call off means cancelar o desmarcar. Cancelar, desmarcar alguma coisa, uma reunião, uma visita, uma consulta, anything, it doesn't matter. Of course, in the business world, we're talking about canceling a meeting, canceling a visit, canceling a trip. So we would say something like this. Guys, we have a problem. We have a problem at the factory today. We will have to call off the meeting, or we will have to call off the visit. We can't receive people today. We can't show anybody the company or the project or the factory floor. We will have to call off the visits because we have a problem, for example. So to call off means desmarcar, cancelar alguma coisa que já foi agendado. To call something off. E, novamente, quando você, maioria das vezes, quando você vai falar a frase, você vai colocar o objeto, a coisa que você vai cancelar no meio do phrasal verb. So, for example, we better call the meeting off. You see? So you could say better call off the meeting, but more natural. It's a bit more natural to say we better call the meeting off, call the meeting off, call the visit off, call the presentation off, call the negotiation off, call it off, cancel the negotiation. So to call the negotiation off. There, guys. Now you see how useful these are. I really hope you are finding them useful. Write down any details. Faz anotações, any useful little details to help you remember how to use them. Na prática. It's so important. And then you can actually start using them in practice tomorrow at your business meetings, or you're sending an email, sending a message on a WhatsApp. Start using these immediately. Really important that you actually use them in practice. Very important there. Now, here we have another interesting one. Check-in. Check-in, we all know. Todo mundo sabe. Check-in is at the airport. Fazer check-in, o verbo in English to check-in. Check-in is the phrasal verb in English. Check-in at the airport. Check-in for my flight. Okay. But now, let me see. Check-in here, of course. Check-in, and that is the meaning. There's no real other meaning, but I want to show you this one here. To check out can also mean, for example, you're in a hotel. So you check in at the hotel, like the first one. You check in at the hotel. You give your name, your passport. You get your key, and maybe you pay at the hotel. But then afterwards, you can check out. You can check out of the hotel. Que seria o contrário. Você está saindo do hotel. You get your passport back. You pay. You give the key, and you check out of the hotel. You leave the hotel. Now, but check out also has another function, another meaning. To check out something means to investigate, to analyze, to look at something so that you can understand better. You can see what it is. So check out. You say, check this out. Imagine you show somebody a document. I show you a paper. Imagine in the office. I say, Pedro, Paolo, Maria, look at this. Check it out. Check this document out. Check out this document. What I am saying to you is, look at this. Analyze this. Have a look. What do you think? Do you think it's interesting? Check it out. Dá uma olhada. Talvez seja interessante. That's what it means. So to check out something also means to look at something, observe something, maybe analyze it to see if it's useful or not for you. That is really the way we would use it. Okay. You are very welcome, Raquel. I hope it helps. You're very, very welcome. Do you see how useful these phrasal verbs are? For example, instead of using, instead of using 20 or 30 words to explain what you want to say, or even 15, maybe 10 or 15, 20 words to explain something, with a phrasal verb, you can do it in much less time, with much less words. You are being much more efficient with your resources. Você está sendo muito mais eficiente com seus recursos. Really important as well. Like with much less words, you can say something important when you have the confidence to use the phrasal verbs properly. Now, let me just go back here to the banners. One suggestion that I want to give you is, and a lot of people, muitas pessoas me perguntam isso. A lot of people ask me, students ask me, teacher, how to get familiar? Tudo bem, check out significa investigar, analisar, observar, analisar. But how to get familiar with them and be able to use them? Theory é uma coisa, but in practice, how to get so familiar with these phrasal verbs that I can use them in my day-to-day English, at my job tomorrow. One way, there are various different ways, but one way is to write sentences with them. Pegar caderno, seu celular, laptop, tablet, whatever you like to use, and write lots of sentences with each phrasal verb, because that way you will see, você vai ver no contexto, when do I use these? Back up, tranquilo, back up, apoiar, dar suporte, dar apoio a alguma coisa. Mas quando usar? When will I use it? And how? Como? How will I use it? So now you know, for example, to back up is you back something up, or you back up something, you back up somebody. And the best way for you to actually learn how to use them in practice is to write sentences. Senta na mesa e escreva uns 15, 20, 25, 30 frases com cada dos phrasal verbs durante o final de semana, por exemplo, or in the evening, quando você tem pouquinho mais de tempo, you have a bit more time. And that way you will gradativamente learn how to use these in practice, e com confiança, não com tanta incerteza, mas com confiança, porque você criou tantas frases escritas suas usando esses phrasal verbs, que agora você vai saber, you will know how to use them properly, da maneira correta, na prática, na vida dia a dia. Okay, guys, so now let's go down and look at a few more here. Temos mais 10 minutos, so I hope we have 3 more here that I hope to show you. And next week, we're going to look at more. Next Monday, we'll look at more phrasal verbs. And let me see here what we have. This one here is to count on. Eu coloquei contar em, por exemplo, I count on you. Eu vou contar em você. Quando você contar sobre, você contar em você. Contar em seria confiar que você vai fazer o que combinamos que você vai fazer, por exemplo. So I count on you. I count on the team. Vou contar no equipe. Vou acreditar, confiar que a equipe vai fazer o que combinamos que a equipe ia fazer, que vai fazer. So to count on something means vou ficar tranquilo que tudo vai dar certo, porque posso contar na equipe, ou em você, ou em Pedro, ou em Paulo, ou Maria, ou Luciano, alguém, de fazer o que foi combinado que nós íamos fazer, ou eles iam fazer, ou ela ia fazer. To count on, ter confiança que alguém ou alguma coisa vai acontecer da maneira que foi entendido ou combinado. That is another phrasal verb we use a lot. We say a lot, for example, chefe, gerente, supervisor, ou colegas até. Imagina, you say, you can count on me. Você pode contar em mim de fazer essa coisa. Imagina, I say to you, por favor, feche o escritório quando você está saindo. Please lock the office when you're leaving. Don't close the door and lock the office. I say, that's fine, count on me. Leave it to me. Deixa comigo. Count on me. Pode contar em mim para fazer essa coisa. Ou seja, trancar a porta quando terminamos, quando vou sair, estou saindo do escritório, fechando a empresa, o escritório, lock the door, count on me, I will do it. Do outro lado, você pode fazer a pergunta. Imagina eu falar para você, please lock the door when you are leaving. Por favor, tranque a porta quando você está saindo. Please lock the door when you are leaving. And you say, okay, I'll do it. And I say, agora estou com a dúvida, não sei se realmente você vai fazer. And I say, can I count on you? Posso contar em você? Posso ter certeza, confiar que você vai fazer? Can I count on you? Yes, you can count on me. Sim, pode contar em mim. Yes, you can count on me. So, na pergunta seria, can I count on you? Can I count on you? Fantastic. Now let's have a look at the next one here. To cut in. To cut in. What is cut in? To cut in significa interromper uma conversa em andamento. Cut in, alguém está falando, you say, can I cut in? May I cut in? A propósito, melhor falar, se uma conversa um pouquinho meio formal, levemente formal ou muito formal, melhor falar may I. May I cut in? Posso interromper? Posso falar um segundinho no meio dessa conversa? May I cut in? May I cut in? So, to cut in significa interromper, talvez brevemente, talvez só por 1 minuto, 2 minutos, talvez por 15 segundos, uma conversa que já está em andamento. To cut in, like cortar in. Cut into the conversation. Cut in. Okay, guys. Now, another one here. To do over. To do over. O que significa? Isso é um daqueles que você pensa, não tem nada que me diz o que significa isso. Do significa fazer. Over significa acima de, o contrário de under, like over the table, under the table, abaixo da mesa, acima da mesa. So, do over, fazer assim, não faz muito sentido. So, do over significa refazer alguma coisa desde o início. Do over, um projeto, por exemplo, você começou e você viu que deu tudo errado, nada deu certo, você não alcançou o resultado desejado, ficou tudo complicado, por exemplo. And so you say, listen, guys, I think we better do it over, do it again. I think that would be the best way there. Let me see here. What do we have here? Raquel, they really are useful, aren't they? They are very, very useful. Raquel here is saying that phrasal verbs are so useful. They are. Here we're talking about, of course, business phrasal verbs, because we're talking with the always be closing group, and always be closing are all business people, all entrepreneurs. Essa palavra muito difícil de se pronunciar. É uma palavra francês, entrepreneur. But in English, we use the same word and we say entrepreneur. Se fosse os franceses ouvindo nós falar entrepreneur, devem ficar chocados, porque é uma péssima pronúncia do francês. Mas, na verdade, não estamos tentando pronunciar no francês e nós roubamos a palavra deles e usamos a mesma palavra. Entrepreneur. So Raquel says they are pretty handy. They really are, Raquel. They're very, very useful. E outra coisa, é muito importante você não ter medo de usar phrasal verbs. Quando você ouve phrasal verbs, você pensa, nossa, muito lindos, muito legais, mas como vou usar? Como e quando vou usar? Como sugiro sempre. Comece já, não tenha medo, no fear. Start using them today. Start writing sentences. Inventa um motivo para enviar um WhatsApp para alguém, um amigo, amiga, colega ou colega seu, usando um phrasal verb. Vê o que acontece. talvez a pessoa vai entender, talvez a pessoa vai responder com outro phrasal verb. Importante você começar já a usar e também escrever frases com eles. Isso ajuda muito você entender melhor, porque você vai ser um pouquinho crítico. Escrevendo uma frase, usando o phrasal verb, você vai perceber, é assim ou não é assim. Estou escrevendo certo, estou escrevendo errado, e você vai se ajustando até você ficar confortável e dizer, não, agora essa frase está bem feita, bem estruturada, não vejo nenhum problema e entendo bem agora como usá-los. Isso ajuda muito, escrever frases com cada um desses. Exige tempo? Sim. Exige um pouco de disciplina? Sim. É um pouquinho chato? Talvez. Mas o resultado final é você falando um inglês muito mais competente, muito mais eficaz, porque você tem todas as ferramentas na sua bolsa para usá-los, a serem usadas quando você precisa. Phrasal verbs, really useful. Business phrasal verbs, mega useful, guys. So now let me go back to the banners here and just repeating here. So to do over significa refazer alguma coisa desde o início. E como sempre, você vai colocar o objeto, a coisa, no meio do phrasal verb. So we better do the project over or do it over. Let's do it over. It sendo o progetto. Claro, it, vamos necessariamente repetir the project. Let's do it over. Acabei de perceber, talvez eu falei bastante português. I think I spoke too much Portuguese in this class, especially because in our Always Be Closing group, the understanding we have, the agreement we have is only English and no Portuguese. And we're doing so well in the group. It's really 99% English, or quasi 100% English. It's almost 100% English in the Always Be Closing groups, which is really fantastic. And congratulations to everybody in the groups, in the Always Be Closing groups on the WhatsApp, because that is the best way to practice and to continuously develop your English. Obviously, if you're developing your English, not much point in speaking Portuguese. So sorry about that, guys. Next week, I will remember, we'll have less Portuguese and more English. Sometimes it's useful, I think, though, because in our WhatsApp groups, in the Always Be Closing groups, there are some members, who don't have, for example, advanced or intermediate English. So it is important that I remember you as well. And I was talking to Ricardo about that, Ricardo Jordão. É muito importante nós lembrarmos todos in our Always Be Closing Business English that there are people in the Always Be Closing groups who don't have advanced intermediate English. We must remember that this group is for everybody. So, para você que não tem inglês intermediário avançado, I really hope this helps you as well. And I hope I explained, espero que expliquei de uma maneira que você entendeu bem como usar esse phrasal verb e o significado de cada um deles. Okay, guys? So I think we're almost at our 30 minutes here. It was a real pleasure, um super prazer, always is, working with you, trabalhando com vocês, esse inglês, esses diferentes elementos do inglês, and of course, answering any questions, and there we are, answering any questions that will help and teach you how to use these elements. Okay, guys, so there we are. So I would see you at the next live. Well, the next live will be on Thursday with Ricardo Jordão, every Thursday at 12 p.m. São Paulo time. At meio-dia horário São Paulo, we're going to be doing a live cada semana with a different theme, uma tema diferente, cada quinta-feira meio-dia, horário São Paulo. And Ricardo will be speaking in English, and we will be really interacting with you guys, okay? And really hoping that you will participate and talk to us about your doubts, qualquer dúvidas e problemas, dificuldades que você tem com o inglês. Eu estou lá para ajudar o máximo possível a resolver y andamos progrediendo. Okay, guys? See you next Monday, 5 p.m. Sao Paulo time. Keep practicing, keep using your phrasal verbs. See you guys.